We're back to the Neil Haley Show here on the Total Celebrity segment and the Media Giant Effect. I'm excited to welcome to the show my co-host, Kim Sorrell of Love Is. Kim, how are you? And I know you're excited about our guest. We already have talked to one person about this movie already, but now we're going to get another perspective. So introduce our guest.
All right. I am so excited to introduce to you Todd Terry, who has been in everything. I don't know if there's a movie out there that Todd hasn't been in. There's been so much from Dallas, Texas, I believe, where I happen to have a son and daughter-in-law. It's a great city. And I'm excited to hear, Todd, about Legacy Peak and how it differs from the 100,000 other things you do.
Oh, thank you so much. I've been really blessed to be a part of a lot of faith-based film recently over the past few years, and many of those have been on PureFlix, and I'm just super grateful for that. I would say it's got a really nice, positive message. It's a family adventure film, based on perseverance, fatherhood. There's a ton of themes in it, but I'd say the fatherhood theme is the biggest one. Just as a brief synopsis of the film, there's a character named Jason who's played by Lucas Black. He is a sweetheart of a guy, just as a person. Sometimes you see people on film and you don't know, are they like that? It's the nicest guy in the world. Anyway, his character is kind of on a mission to capture the hearts of his fiance, who he wants to ask to marry him. And he takes them on this big adventure, has all these plans, they fall apart, chaos ensues, relational issues, survival issues, there's wolves involved. It's an exciting movie. And at the end of the day, the question is, will he make the decisions or will he become that father figure that those kids need? And so got to watch the movie to see the rest.
Now, so Todd, when you're thinking about when you were given this script and saw the storyline, what really drew you to this film?
It's funny, years ago I said, if I could have a career being fathers in movies, and I play a lot of antagonists as well, but that kind of was where my heart was. And so for me, that was special in itself. And I'm playing a grandfather. They aged me up a little bit, but I love that. I love that character that speaks wisdom in movies. And so to be able to play that was a big deal for me. Plus the script is very well written.
Yeah, well, it's always nice to have a well-written script for sure. But it's interesting, your character, when you talk about fathers and fatherhood and playing a father, because here you are in a position that a lot of dads get put in, where all of a sudden there's going to be a marriage. And is the guy good enough? Like, is he going to cut the mustard, and to play somebody like that and have to be that heavy, that guy that really makes you think about whether he's good enough. What was that like? What was going through your mind with that?
It was fun. You don't hear much about my character. You hear initially about my character in the beginning of the film, what he's like. And, it's set up that Jason's going to have to get his approval and that he could be a gruff guy. You really don't know until you see him in the end. But it was a special scene. I would say what really stood out, and it's not specifically the scene I was in with Lucas, but after it and what he says, what Lucas's character says, and he quotes a verse in Matthew about when God the Father says, "This is my son in whom I'm well pleased." And he's encouraging the kids at the time, and he's relating that to the fact that Jesus had not gone through his trials and his tribulations and gone to the cross. God was pleased with him from the very beginning. And that's kind of a type and shadow of how we're supposed to be as fathers, is that we love our kids unconditionally, just as they are. We hope, by our relation that they will follow the way. But, that to me was really powerful. It didn't really answer your question, but it's just something that really stood out for me about fathers in time. Because, Jason's character, he's trying so hard to measure up because he didn't have that father relationship. And he's a person that needs to kind of relax and go, hey, you can do this. You got it. He already has the character to stand up for those kids.
And it's very interesting, relationships with fathers compared to relationships with mothers, and how the relationship is and the specific things. I remember I lost my father a couple of years ago, and the memories of what we did were just ingrained in me. Sometimes we didn't spend a ton of time together, but every time that we spent, I can remember it. It's like almost plays like a situation, because as fathers, again, at that time period, and I guess even close to my time period, sometimes they're the provider. They're a lot of times out, they're a lot of times not able to, but when we do those fun excursions, we do those fun things, it's something that becomes ingrained in children's memories of that time with their father. My time taking me to different basketball games, or the time where, because you see he's busy working and different things and was able to do something like that. That memory I look at, and especially my children as well, when I get to spend that time, I hope they feel that same thing, is that I got to be there. I got to be present. If I can't be with them as much, I have to still be present. How much do you see that as important as a father, to be present when you're there? Because you could be there all the time, but if you're not present, forget about it. It really is not building a bond or anything that they're going to utilize in their life, going through the trials and tribulations in their life based on what they learn from the father.
Yeah, I completely relate to that. To me, it's convicting. And I think one of the reasons I like playing these people, because it's a constant reminder and a conviction that, I have two boys, and I can look back and go, I can see all the ways that I did not do the things that I should have done, that even I felt the Holy Spirit saying, talk to your kids about this. And I didn't do them. And, fortunately, my kids, I'm able to have conversations with them about those things. And we're really open about, hey, I didn't do well in that area. So it's convicting, but everything's a growing, learning example in life. I look at the way that my mom and dad, both special people, but my mother kind of raised us, my sister and I. And as much as she worked, she wasn't able to be there, but I really took it for granted. And now my mom is in a memory care facility, and she has Alzheimer's. And thank you. But the time now with her is very special, even though she doesn't communicate well. She's funny because she's telling jokes all the time. You just can't understand what she's saying, but you can see her heart every time I'm with her. And that to me is special, because even though I didn't have it as much growing up, the things I wished I had, she was an awesome mother. She provided for us. And now I'm getting that time to spend with her.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Yeah, sorry that you're going through that. That's so hard to see your mom that way, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And one thing that I know, being a mother, is that my kids are not afraid to tell me how I screw up and what I did wrong in the past. They're pretty open about it. They're willing to talk to their therapists about it, I guess, or whatever. I don't know, but I look at it as I saw my mom, mother, and my dad, father, and knew what I liked about it and knew what I wanted to do differently, and hope that I did better than they did, or am doing better than they did. How does that play for you? What did your dad do that you take away, or
Yeah.
not?
It's funny. I spent more time with my mom. However, the special times that I remember with my dad relate to my career. I remember going to movies with him, and I always loved that experience. Even though we weren't talking, it was just a shared experience. And to me, I'll always think about that, just because it's what I love to do, and maybe that has something to do with it. I don't know, but that was a really strong shared experience with my dad. Sometimes I wish we had spent more time together, but I love my dad, and he's an amazing guy. It's just we didn't spend as much time together as kids as probably I would like. But but then I look at it as a father too, and I go, oh, I can grow in this area with my kids. Although I'm not perfect, like what you said, we're constantly growing. We're constantly learning from those examples, and hopefully we do it a little better.
And I think that the powerful time that you need to spend with your kids, we have to be disciplinarians at times, but we really ultimately have to build a relationship with them. And I think that the more, when we see that relationship and how it grows and how it works together, it is so important in their memories. So think about every experience you have as a parent, and understand. And I look back, and I've done a lot of things wrong, and I've done a lot of things right. And it just depends on the thing. We pass on so many characteristics and values and systems as a parent that when we have that time, being present, I think is the biggest thing that I need to work on, and I've improved in a lot of ways, is being present when I'm there. It's okay if you're not there all the time, because we all have our circumstances in life and we have certain things that have happened to us, but we stay present. And I think that that's the thing, you know, people say, I want more time, I want quality time, I want this specific thing. It's how we are able to form them as parents. It's the most important thing. So what do you hope people that watch the film, especially fathers, get out of this?
Well, it's real easy. I look at my own life, and it's real easy to, self-condemn and think, oh, I got to try harder. But what you said is very true. It's just being present with your kids and being able to sit there in the midst of it. And sometimes it's about saying nothing and just being there. One of my kids, and he would tell you, he went through a very hard time a couple of years ago, and we as parents did not know really what to do. It was just hard for us, and just being there was just powerful, because somebody knows when you're there with them, even though they're struggling. And so I think, like you said, being present and being there is the biggest message, and allowing yourself to make mistakes.
We all
Yeah.
make mistakes. We're human beings, right, Kim? It happens.
Mhm. Right, right. As hard as we try,
Yeah.
we can't be
Right,
perfect.
we think because we're not our own worst critic. We're the ones that are basically thinking, making a decision before we really think about it. We just, certain things in our lives, we just look back and say, hey, you know what? I need to improve. I need to look at things, and especially in relationships with family and things like that, and say, hey, and willing to be humble and forget about yourself and talk, right, Kim? It's important. You did that. You've learned a lot of that in this journey with Love Is, right?
Yes, I certainly did. Yeah, Terry, I dedicated or Todd, I dedicated a year to figuring out the true meaning of love. And most of the time I was in Haiti, and the things that I learned about love blew my mind and would change the world. And so hopefully I can spread the message. But like this film, there's so much love in this film, and you just see it exude from different characters at different times, and love grows and it changes and takes on different faces and whatever. And being a faith-based film, what a great opportunity for people to go and see and hear people pray on the screen, and involve God in their decisions, and try to bring the kids alongside with all of that. What is that like for you to be in the middle of that? What does that mean to you?
So I really love that when you talked about the prayer, and I watched it literally this morning, and I really appreciated that he was doing that. That was his act. Although he had a list, he goes, "This is one of the things I should do," but his heart with the kids probably wasn't quite there, just based on his past experience. That's his growth. But what I really loved about the film is that that whole relational thing was it was messy. He was not winning. He was not winning. He was not winning. And then finally he got through, a little bit, because they knew he was there, and he was going to separate from them at one point, and then finally goes, no, we're going to stay together. I just love the heart of that. So that's kind of what it means to me. It did a really nice, it showed that whole progression really well and didn't just gloss over it.
So basically, where can people check out the film? Where's the best place? And again, it's available on PureFlix tomorrow, right?
Yeah, it's on PureFlix. Is tomorrow the 22nd? I can't remember. I think
two more days. 2 more days.
Yeah, 2 more days, 22nd. That's all I know. I think it's a PureFlix original, is my understanding. And some of those things are better questions for people that are the producers. But to my understanding, it's just PureFlix at this time. And again, watch it. It's a really enjoyable film. Cinematically, it's beautiful. Colorado was just awesome. We got snow literally the day we shot the scene with the kids and Lucas and myself all together. It was glorious.
And any other projects you have going on that you want to promote right now, Tom?
Sure. I've got 2 movies out in the theaters right now. One's called Running the Bases. It's a baseball movie. I play the antagonist in that. And then one called Pursuit of Freedom. It's also in the theaters, a limited time. So watch it in the next day if you can. It's a story of a woman that's trafficked throughout Armenia in Russia. And it's a hard film, but a heartfelt. And then I'm working on Vindication is a series I do on PureFlix, and we're in our 3rd season. It should come out hopefully next year.
Oh, well, you got a lot of things going and more things to come, right? Especially with how we're seeing how faith-based films are growing and Facebook-based series are growing left and right, because people are now able to choose the content they want to produce, not forced by the big networks anymore. And that's a fantastic thing. I had in a conversation this week about, TV, how TV is going to transform everything, and with the OTT networks to change the way people consume content. So appreciate it.
Absolutely.
All right. And Kim, we can find info on you where, Kim, again?
Yes, kimsorrell.com or loveis.info is really the easiest way. And I'm all over social media and wherever else, and love to connect with people. So whenever. And Todd, I love that the movie sheds such a wonderful light on fatherhood too. Like that. That's wonderful. Thanks for doing what you're doing and getting the word out there.
Absolutely. Thank you all. Appreciate you.
All right. And go to neilhaley.com as well. Appreciate it, guys. You're listening and watching The Neil Haley Show, and we'll be back in just a moment.